Thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to thank all the panelists. It was somehow a little bit last minute due to the difficult logistics of the MENA Climate Week. Even though it is an exciting first time in the region and the debates are quite interesting here, maybe we will have time to talk about this later. So we're here to discuss about subnational climate finance. This is our focus. We're not going to discuss about our difficulties somehow. What is important is to discuss on the instruments, the strategies, the processes that have been put forward with through the different dynamics in which each stakeholder present at the table decided to engage. We are missing one speaker, and I must excuse her, Miss Emmanuelle Nasbridier. At the last moment, she had a meeting and she could not be replaced. It will be for a next session, but I'm very pleased to welcome you all as speakers. We have around the table subnational governments with Mohammed VI and the Ministry of Interior from Morocco. We have one philanthropy, the Fondation Mohammed VI for the Protection of Environment. Thank you, Ms. Jondi, to join us. We have AFD, of course, a bilateral agency. We have African Development Bank, which is a multilateral development bank. And I guess I thought in the participants we have a few profiles complementing the setting. But anyway, for now, I don't want to make a too long introduction as we are already late. First thing is I'd like to focus on one very specific program that FMDB has put together with its partners in Morocco, the Ministry of Interior, the two national associations of mayors and governors in Morocco, and AMPCC for mayors, IRM for regions. This is a very specific and inspiring somehow national initiative. It's a multilateral, multi-stakeholder cooperation program, and I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Mohammed VI. He is the honorary chairman of AIM, the Moroccan Association of Governors, and former Minister of Interior in Morocco. President, if you are okay, if you can unmute yourself, and he will be speaking in Arabic.
شكرا صديقي أستاذ كارلوس. السلام عليكم جميعا. طبيعة الحال أريد في البداية أن أشكركم وأهني يعني المنظمين لهذا اللقاء الذي نحن نعتبره في الجمعيات الترابية أي الجهات والجماعات المحلية اجتماع ذو أهمية خاصة. وأريد في البداية أن أذكر بأن المغرب، وربما هذه من الغرائب، أنه كان يعني منذ فترة مبكرة كثيرا كان أدرك أهميات التغيرات المناخية والتحديات المناخية وكل ما تطرحه من إشكاليات. ودون أن أعود إلى لائحة طويلة لما قام به في هذا الميدان أو مشاركته في كل ما يهم هذا الميدان، لابد من تذكير أن المغرب كان حاضرا منذ قمة ريو سنة 1999 وجميع القمم والاجتماعات أو الكونفرنس التي كانت يعني تهتم بهذا المجال بهذا الميدان. وشارك على الخصوص في كوب 21 بباريس سنة 2015 التي تعتبر مهمة من ناحية يعني الاتفاقية الشاملة. وكذلك نظم سنة 2016 كوب 22 في مدينة مراكش، وكما انضم كذلك المغرب كما يعلم الجميع إلى اتفاقية الأمم المتحدة الإطارية بشأن تغيير المناخ. لكن على الصعيد الوطني المحض حتى قبل هذا كله شرع المغرب عن طواعية منذ وقت كذلك مبكر في تنزيل سياسة وطنية تهدف أساسا إلى حماية البيئة. في القرن الماضي كنا نتكلم أكثر على حماية البيئة قبل أن نتكلم عن المناخ، وكانت له برامج قوية فيما يتعلق بمحاربة التصحر وتعبئة الموارد المائية. الكل يتذكر سياسة السدود التي انطلقت في المغرب في الستينات من القرن الماضي، وفيها كذلك حماية السواحل ومعالجة النفايات الصلبة إلى غيرها. وقد كرس إرادته المغرب في تعزيز التنمية المستدامة بإدراج مقتضيات في الدستور، دستور 2011، كما قام كذلك بتوفير إطارا قانونيا واستراتيجيات خلال تعزيز اللامركزية سنة 2015 للجماعات الترابية، بحيث أن كانت هناك إصلاحات جذرية فيما يتعلق الجماعات، وأعطت للجماعات يعني تدبير حر واختصاصات واسعة. وهناك كذلك لابد من الإشارة إلى استراتيجيات طويلة المدى أو متوسطة المدى كالنموذج الجديد للتنمية بأفق 2035، واستراتيجيات التنمية المستدامة الوطنية لأفق 2030، واستراتيجيات منخفضة الكربون أفق 2050. فيما يتعلق بتنزيل مقتضيات اتفاق باريس، صدق المغرب على هذا الاتفاق سنة 2016 وأعد وثيقة المساهمة المحددة وطنيا، المساهمة المحددة وطنيا السديان، بأهداف طموحة وتوقعات تمويلية كبيرة. ولقد تم تعديل في جوان من السنة الماضية تعديل هذه المساهمة المحددة وطنيا برفعها إلى مستوى أعلى. وبطبيعة الحال يمكن أن نقول الحقيقة أن المغرب في هذا الميدان يعتبر من بين أكثر البلدان نشاطا في مجال محاربة التغيرات المناخية، سواء من حيث الامتثال للسياسات الدولية للمقررات الدولية، أو من حيث الحكمة وتنسيق الترسانة القانونية. وهذا ما جعله يصنف من بين أفضل 5 دول على المستوى العالمي في هذا المجال، توب 5. لكن أدرك كذلك المغرب أن هذه السياسة الطموحة لا يمكن أن يحققها لوحده بدون يعني تمويلات تكميلية، ولكن بالخصوص بدون مشاركة الجماعات الترابية، لأن المجال هو أساسي في هذا الميدان والجماعات الترابية لها دور كبير. فمع إصلاحات عام 2015 كما قلت بالنسبة للجماعات والجهوية المتقدمة، أصبحت المدن والجهات هي المنفذ بحكم الدستور والشريك الأول للدولة فيما يتعلق بتنفيذ السياسات المناخية سواء كانت وطنية أو دولية. وذلك لأن بطبيعة الحال الكل يعلم أن أدوار الجماعات الترابية ملتصقة بحاجيات يعني الساكنة والمواطنين في كل ما يهم عيشهم. ومحاربة المناخ ليس هو يعني في السياسات الكبرى، لكن كذلك في التعامل الفردي، في كيف نتعامل مع تدبير المياه، كيف نتعامل مع تدبير النفايات الصلبة، كيف نتعامل مع الإضاءة، مع النقل داخل المدن إلى غير ذلك. هذا كله بطبيعة الحال جعل من الجماعات يعني شريك قوي، ولكن في نفس الوقت الجماعات لا تتوفر ليس على المال فحسب ولها تنافس كبير. الكل يعلم أن من ناحية التمويلات لمحاربة المناخ هناك منافسة قوية، وهناك نقص يعني حتى في العرض من الإمكانيات. لكن النقص الكبير التي تشكو منه ربما الجماعات الترابية هو القدرات البشرية، أي يعني الإمكانيات أو تقوية يعني قدرات الأطور لكي يتمكنوا من المنافسة ومن جلب هذه التمويلات لمشاريعهم. بإعاز من وزارة الداخلية وعبر المديرية العامة للجماعات الترابية بدأ التنسيق في الحقيقة مبكرا مع الحكومة المركزية، ما يمكن أن نسميه الحكومة الأفقية، لكي لا تبقى هذه المشاريع إلا في مخططات، لكن أن تنزل إلى الأسفل. وكما قلت هنا تبين الحاجة من تقوية القدرات للجماعات الترابية. ومن جهة أخرى مع الإصلاحات الكبرى التي همت يعني الجماعات في سنة 2015 بدأت الجهات مثلا والجماعات الأخرى في وضع برامج تنمية محلية، برامج جهوية أو برامج على صعيد الجماعات، وبدأت يعني تشرع في تنفيذ بعض المشاريع، وكذلك تتلقى تمويل مباشر، لأن القانون يسمح لها أن تتلقى التمويل، أن تقترض يعني عند ممولين حتى دوليين. لكن هذه الفرصة لم تستغل 100%، لأن أول حاجة يعني يطرحها الممول الأجنبي وهي مراعاة آثار البيئة وآثار التغيرات المناخية، وهل مشاريع الجهة يعني تتوفر على هذه المعطيات. ومع الأسف هنا لابد أن نعلم أن إذا لم يكن هناك أطور لها قدرات ولها تجربة ومعرفة في هذا الميدان، فيصعب على هذه المشاريع أن تكون يعني في المستوى المتطلب. ومن هنا جاءت الفكرة، ليست فكرة ولكن جاءت الحاجة إلى التعاون مع أطور أخرى، أطور يعني سواء كانت منظمات دولية، سواء كانت منظمات جهوية، سواء كانت مؤسسات، لتعزيز قدرات يعني الجماعات الترابية لكي تكون حاضرة وشاركة فاعلا في تنزيل السياسات المتعلقة بالتغيرات المناخية في التنسيق مع المخطط الوطني. وفي سنة 2018 بدأ فعلا الشراكة مع الفيدرالية العالمية لتنمية المدن ووقعنا في شهر يناير 2018 يعني الفيدرالية عفوا الصندوق ووزارة الداخلية، الجماعة العامة لمديرية الجامعة للجماعات الترابية، وجمعيات رؤساء المجالس المحلية وجمعيات رؤساء الجهات. وقعنا اتفاقية لوضع مخطط أول يعني لاستكشاف أولا ما هي كل القنوات التمويلية وكيف الولوج إلى هذه القنوات، وكيف يمكن فعلا أن تستفيد المجالس المحلية من هذه التمويلات في إطار تنفيذ الخطة الوطنية. وبالفعل سنة 2021 أي بعد 3 سنوات جاء برنامج ثاني وهو برنامج يعني الذي نسميه SISTIF، اللي هو برنامج يعني أخذ من دروس البرنامج الأول ومن الخارطة التي وضعها البرنامج الأول، وأخذ على عاتقه أن يكون هو المكرس، هو المسرع لكل الخطوات التي يمكن أن تقوم بها يعني الجماعات. وبين قوسين هذه القضية ديال مسألة تقوية الأطور فطرحت أولا في كوب 22 بمراكش في قمة المنتخبين الإفريقيين التي نظمت في هذه القمة، وتبين بالطبع النقص عن الصعيد الإفريقي ككل وفي قدرة الأطور، وكذلك تبين هذا النقص وركزت عليه المناظرة الأولى للجهوية المتقدمة التي انعقدت في أكادير في أواخر 2019. فلتلخيص يعني ما يمكن أن يقوم به السيستيف أو ما قرر أن يقوم به، فيمكن أن نعتبره حقيقة كما قلت كمسرع لوضع يعني مخطط تنسيقي ما بين المستوى الأفقي الحكومي والمستوى دون الحكومة. لا أريد هذه الكلمة لدون الحكومة، لنقول أن يعني في مستوى دون المركزي، إذن الجماعات الترابية، وكيف يمكن فعلا أن نشتغل سويا حتى لا يكون هناك ضياع للقدرات، حتى يكون هناك فعلا تنسيق محكم، وكيف يمكن أن يكون جلب الاستثمارات أو التمويلات إلى المشاريع الجهوية إلى الجماعات الترابية التي هي كما قلت المحور، وهي يعني الريسبتاكل، هي التي تقع فيها المشاريع وتنفذ فيها المشاريع. ثم كذلك من أهداف البرنامج سيستيف وهو مواكبة الجماعات الترابية في وضع مشاريعها جهوية للتكيف أو التخفيف من التغيرات المناخية والولوج فعلا إلى مصادر التمويل. ويمكن أن نقول أن رغم حداثة يعني سيستيف اللي هو يمتد على 3 سنوات، ويعني السنة الأولى 2021 هي سنة انتخابات والجماعات لم تكن جاهزة لأن غيرت كل يعني القيادات، رغم ذلك فالسيستيف حقق يعني أهدافه أو حقق يعني ليس الأهداف لكن ما كان قرره كآليات للاشتغال وصل إليها، وهي أولا خالية تهتم بما هو دون المركزي، وهو كذلك لجنة مجالية التي أدمجت في مركز الكفاءات المناخية فورسي في القطب العمومي، وكذلك بدأت يعني تكون فروق.
Sorry, President. If you can conclude, thank you very much.
Yes. خلاص. إذن أنا ما ألخصه، ما أقول ما أريد أن أبرزه في هذا الباب، وأعتذر عن التطويل، وهو أن هذا التعاون الآن أبان جديته بالنسبة لجمعيات الجماعات الترابية التي هي كذلك هذه الجمعيات مراكز خبرة وممكن أن تسهل التعامل مع رؤساء المجالس. وثانيا المسألة الثانية أن لا بد أن هذا التعاون يستمر ونتقاسم يعني نتائجه كما فعلنا في كوب 22، نتقاسمها مع الجماعات التي يهمها الأمر في القارة الإفريقية، في الشرق الأوسط وشمال إفريقيا، وأن يقع تقييمها في الشهور القادمة إن شاء الله بمصر، يعني عندما نلتقي في القمة المقبلة. وشكرا لكم ومعذرة عن التطويل.
Thank you, President. Really, thank you very much. I'd like to give the floor right now to Mr. Abdelhafid Refou. He's Head of Environment Division in the Directorate General for Subnational Governments within the Ministry of Interior. Mr. Refou, if you can comment very quickly, thank you very much, on this specific cooperation between the national government and the two associations in terms of support. Thank you very much.
ميرسي مسيو كارلوس، شكرا للجميع. تدخل لي الكلمه العربيه. انا في بدايه الامر اثمن، تسمعني مسيو كارلوس؟ vous m'entendez très bien?
Oui, oui, on vous entend très bien. Allez-y.
Très bien, merci. في البدايه انا اثمن وازكي كل ما ما قاله السيد الوزير داخل التقديم ديالو، وبالاخص ذكر بجميع المعطيات القانونيه والتقنيه وفي جميع المجالات. اسمحوا لي انا كتكمله لما قاله السيد الوزير.
Implement what has been said by Mr. Al-Ansar. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead.
لا شك فيه ان جميعنا في مرحله عمل.
It is true that the Paris agreements were very important.
حيث تسعى الحكومه المغربيه الى انجاز السياسه الوطنيه على الصعيد الترابي، وفي هذا الصدد ان المديريه العامه للجماعات الترابيه مواكبه منها للجماعات الترابيه لتنزيل هذه السياسات الخاصه، كما ذكر السيد الوزير ان النموذج التنموي الجديد الذي يهدف الى تحقيق 40% من الطاقه المتجدده بحلول عام 2035. كذلك الاستراتيجيه الوطنيه للتنميه المستدامه التي تعد جزءا من السياسه الوطنيه وكاطار موحد لبرنامج التنميه القطاعيه التي تهدف الى الانتقال الى اقتصاد اخضر وشامل وقادر على الصمود. استراتيجيه التنميه المخفضه الكربون على مدى البعيد 2050. اما فيما يخص السياسه الوطنيه للتغيرات المناخيه فقد قامت الحكومه ببلوره وتقديم مؤتمر.
I'm sorry, wait everyone. We have two versions of English. Pardon Sirifou. Allez-y, allez-y.
حتى لا اطيل لان كانت التدخل ديال السيد الوزير شامل، حتى لا اطيل انا غنذكر باهم المحطات الاخيره في السياق ديال دعم وزاره الداخليه ومواكبتها للجماعات الترابيه. قامت المديريه العامه للجماعات الترابيه بشراكه مع جميع جهات المغرب والجمعيه المغربيه لرؤساء مجالس الجماعات من جهه والصندوق العالمي لتنميه المدن من جهه اخرى بتوقيع اتفاقيه شراكه المسماه SISTIF او البرنامج الوطني للدعم المؤسساتي والاستراتيجي والتقني لادماج واعداد وتمويل مشاريع المناخ على الصعيد المحلي والجهوي. ويهدف هذا البرنامج الى محورين اساسيين: اولا التنسيق الوطني المؤسساتي وتنزيل مضامين هذا الاتفاق على ارض الواقع. المحور الاول التنسيق، ويهدف الى وضع وتنفيذ خطه تنسيق مناخيه وطنيه ونشر الاستراتيجيه المغربيه المعنيه ودعم بناء قدرات الجماعات الترابيه كما جاء في كلمه السيد الوزير. المحور الثاني ويهدف دعم اعداد وتصميم وتمويل مشاريع المناخ المنبثقه من الجماعات الترابيه المغربيه وشركائها ودمجها في اللائحه الوطنيه للمشاريع المناخيه الخاصه بالصعيد المحلي والجهوي. هذا البرنامج يمكن المنتخبين المحليين من بين امور اخرى محينين ومحدث اكتواليزي على مراكز مناخيه وطنيه يمكن الوصول الى عبر الانترنت محين ومحدث. نخص بالذكر بعض الدلائل ومجموعات ادوات اخرى، وهو مكمل لبناء القدرات التي تمنح مراكز المواد على الصعيد المحلي والجهوي. كذلك يمكن هذا الاتفاق من وضع فريق استشاري من الخبراء يسمى وحدة المناخ، ويمكن كذلك من الدعم الهندسي لإعداد مشاريع المناخ والحصول على تمويلها. بناء القدرات يتلائم مع المسؤولين المنتخبين ويضعهم مع نظرائهم في شبكات الوطنية وإفريقية ودولية، وكذلك مع الشركاء المؤسسين والتقنيين ليزانستيتيسيونيل. ويعتبر هذا التعاون بين على الصعيد الوطني وهو متعدد المستويات الملتي نيفو تعاون نموذجي في هذا المجال. يعني لو بروغرام سيستيف هو تعاون ملتي نيفو نموذجي اكزومبلير بور نوتر بيي. في هذا المجال كما ذكر السيد الوزير حنا قمنا مع مؤسسة محمد السادس للمحافظة على البيئة بنشاطات أولية لتقوية القدرات ديال التقنيين والمهندسين داخل داخل الجهات، وقمنا بتغطية 2 جهات 2 من الجهات، وفي هذه السنة إن شاء الله كاين 10 ديال الجهات. وهذه الشراكه النموذجيه للجميع تفتخر بها مع مؤسسه محمد السادس لحمايه البيئه ان اتواصل ان شاء الله داخل اطار سيستيف باش نوصلوا للمبتغى والهدف ديالنا. وقبل الختام اذكر ان التجربه المغربيه في بعض القطاعات خاصه تجربه البرنامج الوطني لنفايات المنزليه والبرنامج الوطني لتطهير السائل وبرامج اخرى اصبحت نموذج يحتذى به في التعاون مع الدول الافريقيه. وختاما وفي الاخير اود ان اطرح توصيه واحده، اتمنى تكرار هذه اللقاءات في هذه المحطات لتقاسم التجارب على صعيد شمال افريقيا والشرق الاوسط، وذلك موازاة مع قرارات مؤتمرات الاطر المتعلقه بالتغيرات المناخيه كوب. وشكرا. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much, Sirifou. Merci beaucoup. This is indeed a very strong cooperation, and I think we heard it a lot in your two speeches. I think it's key for partners like AFD, and you see me coming. Ms. Audrey Giral-Naples, you are Deputy Director for Urban Transition and Mobility at the French Development Agency, AFD. As you heard, this kind of multi-level cooperation is quite unique at this level of dialogue, especially considering that there is this expertise team that is put together with the pipeline of projects and the whole process of building a specific policy on climate action for subnational governments. AFD is very well known for supporting subnational governments in its history of lending. How have you been working on climate financing for subnational governments in the MENA region, or in general? What kind of instruments do you have already to propose to these partners? Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Carlos. Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me say that it's truly a pleasure to be with you today. And as you know, all cities are already directly impacted by the effect of climate change. We can see every day more and more violent and frequent events due to climate change, and how cities and their inhabitants are vulnerable to them. Therefore, this is crucial for us to recognize the role of local authorities in the climate transition and to reaffirm how important it is to accompany them. It is also very important to remember that concrete actions on the ground will be crucial for the achievement of the Paris Agreement and also for the SDGs. However, with already and as the previous speaker mentioned, with already stretched administrations, with limited powers sometimes and limited finances, the task is very hard for cities. They really have an opportunity to be part of climate action, but they also have to be given the means to do so. That's why AFD, so the French Agency for Development, has been historically committed to local authority and is determined to do more and better with them. And to this end, we have developed a global approach to reach the entire value chain, because our ambition is to propose solutions adapted to each one and tailored to each context. Let me describe the first step, and we will see that Morocco is in fact a very good example for that. AFD engages long-term dialogues with national and local level, mainly through public policy loans, to support decentralization processes, and more importantly, to ensure the effective implementation of reforms. For instance, in Morocco, AFD supports the national policy for advanced regionalization with a 100 million euros loan in partnership with the World Bank. This national program aims to improve the performance of local authorities and their capacity to provide local services. This will also enable financing of investments with climate co-benefits, such as sanitation or green areas. This is the first step, support the global framework and the global decentralization process. The second step is more closely linked to cities because we aim to provide direct support to local authorities in the financing of their investment programs. For that, we have a flexible offer able to respond to the needs of different actors or context in the urban sphere. First, we can offer sovereign loans to central governments that are passed on as loans or as grants to local authorities. This is not direct loan to the cities, but it's still financing that benefits directly to the city because it is designed with the city in order to respond to its needs and its investment plan. And in addition, in many cases, the city directly manages the fund and directly implements the project. Finally, there is always a technical assistance coming with the loan dedicated to the city to help it to improve its organization, its local taxes collection, and its capacity to plan further investments and to access to resources. This is the first tool, so not directly to cities borrowing to AFD, but directly designed and managed by city. The second level is that AFD also intervenes through bank intermediation, which means by financing credit lines with national or subnational banks and public financial institutions dedicated to the financing of local authorities. For instance, in Morocco, AFD has a strong partnership with the Fonds d'équipement communal. In 2020, AFD has committed a second credit line focused on projects that aim to fight against climate change and reduce territorial inequalities. This financing could benefit more than 20 cities and also improve their capacity to access financing. And last tool, maybe the most innovative, we can offer direct loans to cities without a state guarantee. This is doable when the institutional context allows it, which means mainly two conditions. First, when cities are allowed to borrow from DFIs. And second, when cities have a high level of financial autonomy due to decentralization. This capacity to commit direct loans without a state guarantee is a particularity to AFD. And this access to direct loan is going to be possible for Moroccan cities due to the recent evolution of the local legal framework. And we are very enthusiastic about this evolution. And we look forward to developing partnerships and direct financing with cities and regions and to supporting their ambitions in terms of climate investments. And just to conclude and not to be too long, I just want to share with you what we see today as major challenges. First challenge for us is how to scale up. It remains difficult to scale up and to meet the huge investment needs of cities. That's why we consider that a major issue is also to promote the structuring of domestic lending markets. There is advocacy work to be done with commercial banks to show them that the local public sector is a low-risk market segment. To encourage them to lend to cities, we are developing guarantee schemes. With the support of the European Union, we have just created a guarantee scheme for private and public local banks that are willing to lend to local authorities. It is necessary to spark their interest in this customer segment and in the financing of local investments. This tool is called CityRiz and it is available for all cities in Africa and North Africa. And a second challenge is also how to support investments with real climate co-benefits or real climate impacts. You may know, as you may know, the AFD Group was the first development bank to make a commitment to be 100% aligned with the Paris Agreement. Being 100% aligned with the Paris Agreement means analyzing each project with regards to its coherence in terms of low carbon and resilient pathway, and its coherence with the national determined contribution of the country. It also means that AFD pays particular attention to the vertical integration of the NDCs, which means how they are translated into local development plans and investments programs. To this end, we have developed financing tools such as CLIA, which means Cities and Climate in Africa, that we deploy with the support of the European Union and the SECO. This facility is dedicated to feasibility studies and technical assistance, and prepares projects with climate co-benefits for cities. And it has massively contributed to unlock the access for financing for cities. To give you some figures to illustrate, CLIA has supported more than 35 cities in Africa and has generated 750 million euros of investments with climate co-benefits that have been funded or are going to be funded by AFD, by the European Union and other financial partners. Those tools are key for us to accelerate climate investments, and we are determined to do more. That's why we are also launching a new phase for CLIA that will aim to include capacity building for cities in order to work simultaneously on climate change adaptation and on improvement of operational and local capacities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, as always, AFD, very clear, very straight to the point, a lot of tools. I'll get back to you at the end in terms of discussion between the speakers if we have time. I'd like to go straight away to African Development Bank. You are a multilateral instrument, so you complement very well the work and the financing options that the AFD just presented. Could you tell us a little bit more? You have a very specific role in the region. Africa, adaptation, urban development, all these issues are challenges. So let us know a little bit more about what you have put in place. Thank you. Mr. Jalal Shabjoub, you are Chief Investment Officer and Energy Efficiency Expert in Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Department at the African Development Bank. Sorry.
Great. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you so much. And it's my pleasure to be here today with you. To share with you also one of the main instruments or funds that is available at the African Development Bank to support municipalities and cities in going in this green path. I will focus today to present a little bit what we call the Urban and Municipal Development Fund. It is our way also to supporting the African cities in being more productive, livable, and also sustainable in their way for development. Next slide, please. So what is this Urban and Municipal Development Fund? Please, next slide. Thank you. So the Urban and Municipal Development Fund, what we call UMDF, is an African Development Bank multi-donor trust fund dedicated to supporting sustainable urban development on the continent. The UMDF is providing technical assistance and financial support to cities with the aim to improve their planning, project preparation, municipal finance, and governance. The UMDF have four or three strategic focus as indicated here. The first one, it is the urban diagnostic and action plan. So as you know, no, please keep in the same. As you know, accelerating socioeconomic development toward more sustainable and livable cities requires solid diagnostic, data, and also long-term planning. Therefore, we support effort to develop comprehensive and updated city diagnostic and action plans, including sector-specific investment strategies to identify catalytic and transformational investment and the project. This is done with the particular focus on data-driven and citizen engagement-based process to improve relevance of these plans and strategy. The next focus, it is on the project preparation and investment. It is clear that national and local plans and investment strategy are imperative to establishing a pipeline for urban infrastructure and services delivery projects that underpin a city's productivities, livability, and sustainability. As such, the UNDF works with clients to transform their ideas to tangible investment proposals, support project preparations, feasibility studies, as well as engineering and environmental and social impact assessment, with a view to bringing projects to market and attract financing from the African Development Bank, from also the private sector, and equally from other partners. On the third focus part, which is capacity development for municipal governments and finance reform, and this has been pointed especially from the different speakers. We work directly with governments, providing them technical assistance to strengthen financial management and overall financial solidity. Furthermore, we support governments overall in their fiscal decentralization reforms. This is with the aim of enhancing access to market financing by improving municipal financial management structures, evaluating and alleviating regulatory constraints, as well as identifying potential local revenue opportunities. Next slide, please. So looking on these opportunities for African cities, next slide, please. So we do have four main areas. We are talking about productivity, livability, sustainability, good governance. So on the first one, which is the productive cities, what we can provide, we are providing support for analyzing, diagnosing, and advising on the design of comprehensive as well as sector-specific planning. We are also providing building capacity or supporting for building capacity of cities for project preparations to attract investment into productive infrastructure, and also playing a catalytic role to leverage resources for urban development. On the second part, which is livability or livable cities, what we are providing is we are advising on plans and strategy that addresses urbanization in holistic, sustainable manner. We are also promoting an inclusive urban design, people-centered spatial planning, and participatory decision-making, and supporting the preparation of inclusive urban development project essential services. This is for the two first one. Now, about the sustainable city or sustainabilities, what we can provide, we are assuring peer-to-peer from other cities on sustainable urban transition. We are also supporting cities in climate proofing their investment, developing projects and programs that reduce the intensity of energy consumption and emissions, and assisting cities in assessing green financing mechanisms. On the last one, which is the good governance. So what we are providing, we are mainly partnering with governments at a national and sub-national level to support fiscal decentralization, providing direct technical assistance to municipalities to strengthen systems of revenue collections, expenditure, administration, and building overall creditworthiness. And also, finally, preparing cities to access financing from our bank and also from any other potential resources. Next slide, please. So how this is working? We have developed the what we call the cities program. It is launched in 2021. We have started with 5 cities. We are working intensively with these selected city as a part of this new program. Together, we undertake a comprehensive city diagnostic and actionable planning process with the aim to prioritize and preparing urban investment and infrastructure projects. Cities benefit from the bank pre-investment support, from training, learning, and dialogue, connecting them to other cities in Africa and even beyond. Through this, we are establishing a network of reform-minded municipalities working towards sustainable, productive, and livable urban development. As you can see here from this slide, you have these different activities that we are undertaking on the phases. So without going into detail, there is 3 main phases, which is the preparation and the diagnostic, and also the implementation and the follow-up, as you can see here. It is a list of, as you can see, a support or detailed support from the ideas until the implementation and the monitoring. So next slide, please. So as you can see here, this tool and what I think really fit very well with the needs of the cities in Africa and notably in Morocco, we have this regular UNDP windows where we said we can support in providing urban diagnostic and planning. We can also support the project preparation, and we support in improving municipal governments and financial management. So this is the general windows, but also we have what we call the small grant initiative. This is, we can call it as a fast track, where we can support the municipalities with having around $30,000 US to undertake really very fast studies and needs, including also some capacity building. So as you can see here, this is the process, the general process that we are using for the EMDF or the small grant initiative. The most important is to have a project proposal, or at least to understand what are the needs from the cities. We have to review, to check. Once we will establish a little bit with the agreement with the cities and municipalities what will be done, then we will request the government request, so to identify and to have a good understanding, and based on this, then we will present to the committee for decision and final approval. I guess this is what we think really very important, that the cities and municipalities in Morocco can have access easily to this available source, beyond, beside also in addition to our regular windows. It is on the sovereign and non-sovereign. We have also the same as the AFD. We have also what we call the sub-sovereign windows, where we can also provide direct financing to the cities under for sure some conditions, without the state guarantees. So this is also available at the African Development Bank. So let me stop here. I'll be glad to answer any question, and also I would be more than glad also to have some requests from the cities of Morocco to help them establishing and moving forward to the green path and sustainable development. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chapchoub. Oh, and you will get a lot of demand coming from Morocco, local governments and regions. Don't worry about that.
Agreed.
But thank you very much, because
it will be with a great pleasure.
Going through the instruments of the African Development Bank, the instruments of AFD, we can see that there is a strong appeal coming from the development partners, the DFI, development finance institutions, through the different tools to really get an integrated approach on the whole cycle for project planning, design, financing, implementation, strengthening the capacities for raising funding and financing. So I guess we are at a very interesting moment, and maybe later I will ask all the speakers to comment on the way forward. How do you see the acceleration? Because we have a lot of demand on one side, and you have very little means, even though you are doing a lot, this is still insufficient to address the demand. So I think that if you can think about how personally you think the way forward could be, and what could be done and announced during COP27 for some national climate financing, it would be nice. That will be my question later. But I would like to give the floor right now to Ms. Nazma Jrondi. You are coordinator of the Air Climate program within the Mohammed VI Foundation for the Protection of Environment. Thank you for being with us. I think that philanthropies have a specific role in as mediators, as conscience builders. So I'd like you to comment a little bit on your role in Morocco, and how do you see your position in the future? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Can you all hear me? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be here with you. I wish I could meet you all in person here at the MENA Climate Week in Dubai, but the virtual mode gives us the possibility to include more people, even those who weren't able to make it to Dubai. So very happy to share this moment with you. Thank you, Miriam, for sharing the presentation. To start with, can I have it in full screen? Thank you so much. First slide, please. Next slide. I would like to start with introducing the Mohammed VI Foundation for Environmental Protection. As you all know, it was launched by His Majesty the King Mohammed VI in 2001, and he gave the effective presidency to Her Royal Highness Princess Lalla Hasna. The fundamental mission of the foundation is to educate and raise awareness towards the several environmental issues and sustainable development. The foundation is open for all, for students, for private sector, public partners, international partners, and we work in close partnership with the different stakeholders. Next slide, please. And this is the newborn, is the Hassan II International Center for Environmental Training, which was inaugurated in 2019. It's the academic arm of the foundation with 4 missions interconnected to the mission of the foundation. It relays the knowledge and experiences, raise awareness and train, ensure synergies, and capitalize and promote the work that has been ongoing for more than 20 years now by the foundation and its partners. Next slide, please. So as I said earlier, our mission is to promote education on sustainable development through different tools towards the education community from kindergarten to university. So it's a lifelong learning journey that we have at the foundation with different programs, most of them led by the FEE, Foundation for Environmental Education. Next slide, please. To focus more on the air and climate action within the foundation, our work is based on the commitments made by the Kingdom of Morocco in alignment with the international agenda. So as you can see, we started back in 2002 with the quality of air and pollution, moved towards carbon footprint and carbon compensation. In 2016, it was a very big moment for Morocco because we hosted the COP22, as you all know. So it was a very big moment for us, knowing that the foundation became a permanent member to the UNFCCC in 2009. Also, we work towards more action with the Directorate of Local Authorities, our partner since 2016, and move also with other partners to promote sustainable action sustainable mobility, sustainable cities, and we put in place a new, let's say, new strategy rule in 2020. I also would like to mention a very interesting initiative launched by the Foundation in the Global Climate Action Summit in 2019. Is the African Youth Climate Hub, which is an initiative to encourage young entrepreneurs around Africa to have projects in the climate field. Next slide, please. So this year, the Foundation launched a task force for the decarbonization of the Moroccan economy, along with other partners from the public sector. It's the Ministry of Energy Transition and Sustainable Development, the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, from the private sector with the General Confederation of Enterprise of Morocco, CGEM, with also other national agencies like the Moroccan Agency for Energy Efficiency and also the Moroccan Institute for Normalization with the foundation. So all together we have this economy-wide approach with different stakeholders working together towards decarbonization. So we put in place action plan for 2022. So the first, let's say, program we have launched this year is the trainings that we are currently doing with the Association Bilan Carbone, which is based in France and who developed the methodology of the Bilan Carbone. This work is done with close partnership with the General Directorate for Local Authorities that are really thankful for their continuous support in this work. So this training program is basically to raise awareness on the greenhouse gas emissions in general, but also on the methodology of the Bilan Carbone, because as I will mention later, we're working on a tool to do the carbon footprint, let's say, emissions. We are also raising awareness through webinars that we are organizing, like the one we're doing today. We have a few in the coming days at the MENA Climate Week and also in the coming months with different partners. And we do that in collaboration with Hassan II International Center for Environmental Training, our academic branch. And we are also doing a huge study on the updating and upgrade of the greenhouse gas tool that was launched by the foundation back in 2011. So this tool is given to all partners, all the economic actors in the Moroccan society, the private sector, the companies, universities, territories, cities, to help them assess their carbon footprint. So this tool was developed back in 2011 with 300 emission factors. Half of them were adapted to the national context. So together with all the partners from the steering committee of the decarbonization task force, we are working together to first update those factor emissions, to adapt them with the more accurate and up-to-date data, but also to upgrade this tool by adding new emission factors, but also to align it with the CBAM, with the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism that is supposed to start in 2023 with the 3 years for studying, and starting from 2026, we will have the carbon tax for the companies who want to export into the European market. And as you know, for Morocco, it's very important because it represents 60% of our exports. So all these actions are really to accompany all the stakeholders, private sectors, universities, cities, territories, to work together towards a low carbon economy and towards climate change objectives. Next slide, please. Before I end my presentation, I would like to just answer your question, Carlos, regarding what could be the future of the collaboration and how we see the future of the foundation. Is, as we've been doing for the past 20 years, is to have more collaboration between different stakeholders. That's why we put the task force in place, to try also to widen our partnership with international organizations. So I'm happy to see AFD, but and the African Development Bank also with us in this webinar. So we would love to have more close relationship and partnerships in the near future, because we are convinced that the fight against climate change needs an economy-wide approach and a multilateral, multi-stakeholders action to meet our targets. And as you know, the Moroccan targets are very ambitious, but attainable. But we need to work all together to attain those goals. Thank you very much. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you so much, Nazma. Could I give the floor very quickly to Audrey and Janelle? Audrey, if you would like to comment, did you get my question earlier on what could be the future, the way forward, based on your experience, on your relationship with the cities you are financing? How do you see the increasing of amount, the increasing of I don't know, to get better tailored tools, and especially when we are talking about Africa, the MENA region, adaptation, how do you see this?
Thank you so much, Carlos, on that.
Maybe Audrey first, and then yourself. Thank you, Jadel.
Okay. No problem.
No problem. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you for the question. This is a real serious issue, and I totally agree with what Mrs. Rondi said about the fact that it is necessary to have strong partnership and multi-stakeholders partnership to respond to this issue. But I think for us, one very important level is, we're talking about cities, but a very important level stays, especially in Africa, the state level, that has to encourage cities, to give them through decentralization, but to give them financial capacities and institutional and operational capacities to be able to respond to the challenges and to respond to the needs of their inhabitants. And I think one of the key is in the partnership between national level and local level. I think the local level can't do it alone and can't do it without the support and without a strong national decisions that can give them more capacity. I think it's a very important point. And I think another point is, as I said, that we need to be more, and we need to have also the local bank market to finance cities. And I think the role of subnational development bank can be key, and the role of local banks can be key to support not only cities, but cities and their green or climate investments. Because I think it is something that is really, really missing today. It's that market segment that cities can't access to direct financing on local banks, and that is what cities are doing in, for instance, in Europe. They have dedicated financial institutions, but also commercial banks that can answer different needs and different type of financial needs. And I think the mobilization of the local banks and subnational banks, subnational development banks will be key for that.
Thank you very much, Audrey. Jalal, it's your turn now.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I completely agree about what have been said. On the financial part, it's really very important on creating also a synergy with all stakeholders. It's really very important. My point is maybe a little bit ahead is to creating this awareness, which is really very important on the municipal and city side with, as Audrey said, important to have the state support before even going to the financial part, because as you know, we need to define the projects. And in my opinion, it's really very important that each city, they should have at least their action plan. When in the action plan, it's well defined about priorities, about needs, about financing, about all these aspects, that having at least what we call always a bankable project, where to go with the on the financial part, and where they can at least understand the project, understand the benefit on the different aspects, including also the environment impact and assessment. And this is maybe, I suppose that we need to work on that to develop for each of the cities. And here, that for sure the government, they need to play an important role here, but also the foundation and all other stakeholders. And that's why I guess it's important, as has been said, to have all the stakeholders need to create such synergy and to complete each other actions. And why not to define one plan where all the potential stakeholders can participate with technical assistance or with financing. So this is, I guess, it is an important step toward supporting the municipalities and cities in Morocco.
Thank you so much. Mr. Lensar, would you like to comment as a former minister, as a former president of region? Please take the floor.
شكرا لك. لا، أنا لدي سؤال بسيط. عندما استمعت إلى عرض ممثل البنك الإفريقي، رأيت في أحد التطبيقات المعروضة أن هناك مرحلة ما أدري لافال دو غوفرنمون، يعني هل هي ضمانة الحكومة أو هل هي تصريح أو أوتوريزاسيون تصريح، لأن هذا طرح المشاكل. يعني أنا لما كنت رئيس جهة فاس مكناس كذلك كانت لي اتصالات مع البنك الإفريقي، مع البنك الإسلامي، مع الاف دي، والكل متجه آنذاك على إزالة مسألة لا غارونتي، مسألة ضمان الحكومي، خصوصا أن مؤخرا هناك مرسوم يسمح للجماعات الترابية أن تتعامل مباشرة مع المؤسسات. شكرا.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. Well, to answer your question, here what we are talking under the UNDF, just to the request, we are not talking about the guarantee. This is to establish the work and to support, to develop the complete study or the feasibility study. So it's only, we are not requesting any guarantee because it is a trust fund. So it is, we are not getting any loan for that, which is really important. So that's why I said the UMDF, it's a good opportunity for the cities and municipalities. However, for the financing, the real financing of the project, as I said, yes, I confirm also that we We have the sub-sovereign loan, where we can give directly to the cities and municipalities without asking for guarantee for the state. So it is sub-sovereign loan with the direct contracting with the cities, and that's confirmed what you have said.
Sirefou, as a representative of the minister, we talked a lot of this strong support in building conducive policies for financing at the local and regional level. Do you want to add something?
Merci Carlos, merci beaucoup. أهم النقاط ديال كما قلت النقاط على المستوى التشريعات أو كذلك على مستوى العمل ديال الجماعي على جميع المستويات ديالو بالنسبه للجهات او الجماعات. هادشي كلشي ذكر به السيد الوزير. انا بغيت نلخص التدخل الاخير ديالي في ثلاثه نقاط مهمه. اولا ان البرنامج سيستيف اللي حنا صدد نتكلموا عليه، فبدا تيعطي الثمار ديالو ديجا السنه الاولى، بدا تيعطي الثمار ديالو. بدينا تنشوفوا الثمار والمجهودات ديال هذا البرنامج، ومن خلاله فلا بد اننا نشكروا جميع العاملين معنا، وتنتوجه بالاخص الخبراء اللي ترافقونا. اذكرهم بالاسم: مريم، رجاء، هدى، وكذلك كريم، اللي تيواكبونا وتساعدونا في هذا البرنامج، وخاصه مسيو كارلوس اي مدام كارول. جو ميرسي انفينيمون. انا بغيت نذكر بالنقطه الثانيه، وهو ان هذا التعاون اللي هو نموذجي، تنقولوا نموذجي ديال لو ملتي نيفو، يعني او نيفو لو ملتي نيفو متعدد المستويات بالنسبه للمستوى على المركزي والمستوى المحلي. هذا التعاون فهو نموذجي اونيك، وتعطي الحمد لله الثمار ديالو، ومن خلاله تنشكروا جميع الرؤساء لا ديال الجهات لا ديال الجماعات اللي تيواكبوا معنا وتيسيروا معنا هذا البرنامج. كذلك لابد من خلال هذه المواكبه تتم كما اشار لها السيد الوزير، ومن خلال هذا البروغرام سيستيف تتم تقويه القدرات، الرونفورسمون الكاباسيتي ديال لا المنتخبين ولا الاطر على المستوى المركزي ونيفو سونترال ولا على المستوى المحلي. يعني كان مجهودات قيمه، وذكرت من خلالها العمل اللي قمنا به مع مؤسسه محمد السادس لحمايه البيئه. وفي هذا الصدد لابد اننا نشكروا الاخوان ديال مؤسسه محمد السادس لحمايه البيئه والرئاسه الفعليه صاحبه السمو الملكي الاميره لاله حسناء. تنشكروهم وتنعتزوا بهذا التعاون ديالهم المتميز، ودائما ان شاء الله غادي نمشيو في المسار. هذه هي بدايه ديال سيستيف، حنا في المسار وفي البدايه، وتنتمناو ان شاء الله خلال السنتين المقبلتين من هذه الحياه ديال سيستيف اننا نخرجوا بنتائج قيمه اللي ترضي الجميع، واللي تكون عند حسن الظن ديال الجميع في المجال ديال التغيرات المناخيه. وشكرا جزيلا. ميرسي بوكو.
Thank you, Sirefou. Thank you to all the speakers. I'm really sorry to the participants and attendees. We don't have time. We're already very late. We don't have time for questions and answers, but we will reorganize a session, a longer session with partners. I'd like to thank all of you for all the perspectives you brought to the table. I think that this side event falls under the MENA Climate Week, the first one. And it's true that in the region, Morocco is a leader, is a champion for decentralization processes, for this multi-level cooperation. And we hope that for COP27, we can build something strong in terms of communication to allow for this model of multi-stakeholder, multi-level, multi-instruments, multi-sourcing, multi-expertise mobilization. I'd like AFD and the African Development Bank, the Foundation, Mohammed VI, to really support this process of disseminating this kind of approaches and using all the canals, all the channels we have. I think that we will rediscuss this topic. We have the full support of the National Association of Mayors and Governors, the support of the Ministry of Interior in Morocco, and we really need to ensure that for the next 2 COPs, which will happen in the MENA region, something that was inherited from the previous COPs and specifically integrated in the Glasgow Pact remains vivid, and especially for Africa on adaptation, that we move forward in proposing more answers to the demands that are being done from the mayors and governors. Thank you so much. We are now closing the session. Thank you to all the participants, and we will get back to you very soon with a longer session where you will have your own space to discuss with the speakers. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.